Okay, just to review, my relations student, his qualifying condition is in his IEP is a specific learning disability, and it impairs his ability to be able to keep up with his peers in the classroom. The modifications on his IEP or accommodations: language arts, he needs extended time, flexible setting when testing, and use of a dictionary. In math, he's given the opportunity to have extended time, flexible setting when testing, use of a calculator, and clarifying instructions. So just some basic accommodations and modifications. The student's academic strengths and areas for growth. This student's strengths include art, speaking, reading comprehension. He needs to grow in the area of math and writing. So he's very strong, especially he does well with art. He likes to be able to express himself with that. And speaking, he presents himself very well. So that will help him in the future. But he definitely needs to grow, like I said, in math and writing. Math seems to be his biggest struggling point. What are the student's social strengths and areas for growth? He's very social with his peers, and he is a very calm temperament. I've seen him be provoked before for a fight, and he just kind of ignored the situation and let us in the classroom handle it, the staff in the classroom. And so he's very mature in that way. Granted, he's a fifth-year senior, so he should be a little bit more mature than his peers, but I was proud of him in that instance. He's not very reliable when it comes to coming to school on time. I know he has to catch a bus, and so he has to get up very early. I noticed that he has been doing better lately, but he still struggles with coming to school on time. Usually he'll come during first or second period. And then I've also heard him say that he isn't afraid to hit a girl if they deserve it. He's also very up and down with his motivation. He wants to do well, but then his behavior doesn't always show it in school. He's very up and down. Like I said, he's great at being respectful to authority figures. Whenever I've prompted him to stop a negative behavior, he always stops and he always apologizes and does what I ask him to do. But then I also notice that he'll go back to the behavior eventually. It takes him a while, and he redirects for some good time. So that's a positive thing. But he doesn't completely change his behavior. That just takes time, though. He tends to be up and down with his motivation, like I said, and up and down with his focus on school. He would do really well in a positive environment, in a positive place with peers that aren't in the negative behaviors that he struggles with himself. He's functioning below grade level. Teaching strategies that I've noticed that work on him: positive reinforcement really helps. I need to continually remind him why he needs to work hard, continually tell him to push through that negative desire to just want to stop. Like I said, he's already a fifth-year senior, and so he just needs that constant pushing and constant reminder of why school is important. I'll split up the assignment for him and give him incentives to work hard so that he has a reason more than just finishing and getting the points. He has more reasoning to want to work hard. He loves music and sports, so I let him choose the topics as well, like I did with the EL student, and categories to research about, and he really enjoys that. What out-of-class activities and extra support? So we have a resource specialist that comes once a week, but since he comes late, she usually comes in the morning, so he'll actually miss a lot of the times that he can work with her, and so that's a big bummer. I know that he would do well if he is able to work with her. What are the main challenges you face in designing instruction? The main challenges for him is creating assignments that grab his attention and will be able to keep his focus on the project and not get distracted on YouTube or whatever else that he wants to talk, people he wants to talk to, things he wants to do. Just making sure that he really enjoys what he's doing, and making sure I don't give him assignments that overwhelm him, because if he's overwhelmed, I notice he just stops. Just the same with the EL student. We have quarterly parent-teacher conferences in order to contact the parents and families. We have SSTs when necessary. He's never had to have that. We have his IEP whenever that comes up. I know we just had one in order to transfer him to another district, and just phone calls whenever necessary. He's 18 though, so I usually talk to him if I need to. Out of class activities in which student participates. I know he likes basketball just with his friends. Whoops. But nothing organized. My other student, this student is great at reading comprehension and memory recall activities. He's a strong reader as well. He struggles with math and writing. The student's social strengths. The student has many friends at school. He loves to joke around. However, he has a terrible anger problem, and he doesn't know how to manage his emotions in a positive way. He also doesn't know how to put humor in an appropriate way. He jokes around at inappropriate times, and he also doesn't redirect very well. Whenever I've asked him to stop a negative behavior or do something different, he tends to just continue to do it, and then he ends up being suspended because he won't choose the positive behavior. He likes to pretend box with his friends, and he likes to joke around with violence often. And so we've addressed that in an SST, and we've addressed that with him. It's also with my boss. And so he has a lot of behavior problems. So on the topic of behavior, I've noticed that he needs a lot of redirection and encouragement. I know he just got kicked out of his house, and now he's living with another family member or a family friend. And since he's moved, his behavior has decreased hugely. At the beginning of the year, I had issues with him. And then I was able to build rapport with him. And then he did awesome for a while. And then ever since he's moved out of his parents' house, he's just really decreased. And he's pretty much given up on school. I know that every time he's been suspended or whatever, he does recognize that he's the one that's messed up, and he owns that, and he apologizes for it, but I don't see any behaviors changing too much. Overall, he's functioning below grade level, and basically it's because he's given up. I know that he used to miss a lot of school in the past, and so that doesn't help with those learning gaps that he has. Teaching strategies for him, he's nearly impossible to get motivated. He, especially recently, like I said, he's given up. He does well when he's around his friends that work well in the class. There's this one girl I'll sit him next to that she always does her work, and she's a great influence on him. So he relies heavily on her. But if she's not there, which she misses school a lot, then he just sits with other people and just messes around the whole time. So positive reinforcements, those probably work the best. But even that is really difficult. I even tried to let him choose whatever he wants to work on, and he won't do it. The main challenges with him is, like I said, finding something that he will work on. He doesn't even like the opportunity to do something that he enjoys because he says I'm tricking him to doing work. So I've tried even bribing him with chips, and that doesn't work. So with him, it's just getting him motivated, but it's that internal motivation that he needs. Sometimes the incentives work, but for the most part, he just has to choose. And when he chooses to do well, he does well because he's a smart kid. Describe how you communicate with each focus students, parents, and families. Like I said, parent conferences, SSTs. When necessary, we've had a couple with him, but his parents are very hard to get a hold of, and they don't seem to be interested in helping their child. And so we've met with him many times, but the parents I've never met before, and I've never been able to get a hold of them on the phone. And so we try our best to communicate with them, but when they don't want to communicate with us, it makes it hard. And this student, I know he works at McDonald's and he enjoys spending time with friends. And so that work permit also is a good thing to use as an incentive. He needs a work permit to work. And so if he's not doing well in school, then we're going to start having to tell him if he can't work, then we're going to have to pull his work permit. The hard part is he has to pay his own bills. So that's kind of our last resort for him. Analysis, reflection, and application, I'll address that on the next video.